Many people can become more forgetful as they age. How can you tell the difference between mild forgetfulness and serious memory problems like Alzheimer's disease? What's typical and what's not? Normal aging includes making a bad decision once in a while, missing a monthly payment, forgetting which day it is and remembering later, sometimes forgetting which word to use, losing things from time to time. With Alzheimer's disease, people experience making poor judgments and decisions a lot of the time, problems taking care of monthly bills, losing track of the date or time of year, trouble having a conversation, misplacing things often and being unable to find them. Although some forgetfulness comes with age, don't ignore changes in memory or thinking that concern you. Talk with your doctor if you notice you have more serious memory problems than normal. For more information about forgetfulness and memory loss, visit www.nia.nih.gov.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Sage Advice Vibrant Living. I'm Donna Gaines, president of Sage Collective, and we're here to rewrite the narrative on aging. Living vibrantly is our mission, and we know that living and getting older comes with its perks. Things like senior discounts or retiring so that you can travel to some of those places on your bucket list. Or maybe it's just being able to say that I'm at a point in my life where I'm going to do, and you can fill in the blanks. Or maybe it's I'm at a point in my life where I'm not going to do anything I don't want to do. I'm sure some of you can relate to that. Well, at Sage Collective, we're here to help you and encourage you to find and pursue your passion and to wake up every day with a sense of purpose. But we also talk about health and wellness and healthy lifestyles. And tonight, we're talking about a very important topic, and that is Alzheimer's. And it's important to know that memory loss isn't a normal part of aging. And Alzheimer's disease is more than just forgetfulness. In fact, 1 out of 9 people over the age of 65 are living with Alzheimer's. So tonight, we want to delve deeper into what Alzheimer's is. We're going to talk about some of the new protocols for diagnosis and treatment. And I know I want to learn about some of the things that I can do to make sure that I keep my brain healthy as long as I can. So joining us tonight to talk about this very important topic is Olivia Matongo. And Olivia is the Vice President of Programs for Alzheimer's Illinois chapter. She leads a team that delivers services and care information to 8 sites across Illinois to 2.2 million people. Whew, that's a lot of people, Olivia. I know you work very hard. So first of all, thank you for your passionate leadership, and also want to thank you for making time to join us this evening.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Well, thank you for joining us. And I know you have a presentation prepared for us, and I want to be able to follow up with some questions. So for those of you who've joined us, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the chat. And we're going to make sure that we present them to Olivia so that she can answer some of those burning questions you have. I know I have a few. So from there, Olivia, just take it away. And thank you for joining us.
Okay. And, I just want to reiterate that it's truly an honor to be here today. Thank you for giving me the chance to talk about something that is touching so many lives, and that's Alzheimer's and dementia. My name is Olivia Matongo, and I'm the Vice President of Programs for the Illinois chapter. So the Alzheimer's Association is on a mission to end Alzheimer's disease and all other dementia. And we're doing this by focusing on funding and supporting global research. So research that's not only happening locally, nationally, but internationally. And we're also focused on early detection, risk reduction, and then making sure those that have been impacted are connected to the best resources, information, and support as they navigate the complexities of this disease. So let's talk about Alzheimer's and how it's hitting hard right now. There are currently 7 million Americans that are living with Alzheimer's disease. 12 million caregivers are helping loved ones, and they're doing this unpaid. And the value of that help that they're providing to their loved ones is $413 billion. In 2025 alone, the cost of Alzheimer's disease is $384 billion. And this is to healthcare systems as well as the government. And it could hit $1 trillion by 2050. Lifetime risk at 45, that's how old I am, is 1 in 5 for women. That's really scary. And for men, it's 1 in 10. But I do have good news. We've been conducting surveys, and what we're hearing is people do want treatments, and people are, in fact, hopeful about the future of this disease. In Illinois, there are currently 250,000 people that are living with Alzheimer's disease. And with that, there are 316,000 people that are providing close to 5 million hours of unpaid care. And again, the value of that unpaid care in Illinois is $12.5 billion. The numbers are staggering, they are alarming. And this is why the work that the association is doing is so essential. When you really think about it, caregivers are people that you're surrounded by. They're your friends, your family members, your neighbors, coworkers, staff team. The association is so well positioned to raise awareness and really connect families with all of the resources and information that they need. So let's talk about dementia. Often we hear from people, I don't understand the difference between dementia, Alzheimer's. So this is something that we always want to make sure people fully understand. Dementia is not a single disease. It's an umbrella term, like heart disease, that covers a wide range of conditions that affect memory, thinking, language, problem solving, and even personality. And these changes are so severe that they impact your daily life and your independence. They don't just affect the person living with dementia, but they ripple out to families, relationships, and entire communities. Alzheimer's disease is the most common form of dementia, and it accounts for about 60 to 80% of the cases. But there's also vascular dementia, and that results from tiny strokes or blood vessel blockages in the brain. Some individuals experience mixed dementia, where more than one type of brain change is happening at the same time. And then there are conditions like thyroid issues or vitamin deficiencies that can cause dementia-like symptoms, but are actually treatable and even reversible. So it's really important for us to pay attention to what's happening to ourselves or family members and consult a physician and find out what that is. It might not be dementia, but a thyroid issue or vitamin deficiency. So early detection is really key when it comes to Alzheimer's and dementia. Digging into what Alzheimer's is, as I mentioned, it's the most common cause of dementia. And age is the greatest known risk factor for Alzheimer's disease. But it's important to understand that Alzheimer's is not a normal part of aging. Most people living with Alzheimer's disease are 65 years and older, but it can also affect people that are younger. And when somebody who is younger is diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease, we call that younger onset or early onset. And in these individuals, they could be at any stage in the disease. They could be in the early stage, middle, or late. And they often face unique challenges, especially when they're still working or raising families. What we know about Alzheimer's disease is it's a progressive disease. And that basically means it gets worse over time. In the beginning, memory loss might be mild. You're misplacing your keys, you're forgetting names. But as the disease continues to advance, it takes away your ability to hold a conversation, recognize loved ones, or just to be able to respond appropriately to the world around you. On average, someone lives 4 to 8 years after diagnosis, but we do see some individuals are able to live as long as 20 years. Every journey is different, and every moment counts. And again, I said this a couple of times, but this is why early detection is really critical. Dementia often starts subtly, and it's easy to dismiss those signs. But if you or someone you love is experiencing memory changes or trouble thinking clearly, don't wait. Talk to a doctor. Getting an early and accurate diagnosis opens doors to support, treatment options, and just the chance to be able to plan for your future with dignity and care. One of the questions that we get asked all the time as well is, well, how is Alzheimer's diagnosed? There's actually no single test that can be used to determine if an individual has Alzheimer's or another dementia. Physicians actually use a wide variety of tools to diagnose somebody. And the tools include looking at your medical history, mental status tests, physical and neurological exams, diagnostic tests, and brain imaging. So physicians need to use all of these tools in order for them to actually determine if somebody has Alzheimer's or another form of dementia. I did want to share very exciting news. The landscape for Alzheimer's and dementia has just been progressing. And I've been with the Alzheimer's Association close to 4 years. And in this time, so much has been happening. And it's really allowing us to dispense hope to all communities across the state and actually nationally too. Back in May, the FDA approved a new blood test that can be used to help in diagnosing Alzheimer's or another dementia. What's especially exciting about this blood test, it is able to detect the amyloid plaques, which is one of the key markers of Alzheimer's disease. And this is just from a simple blood draw. What makes it even more exciting is it's far less invasive than traditional methods that have been used. And now, while there still isn't a single test that can definitively diagnose somebody with Alzheimer's on its own, this new blood test could potentially become a very critical and valuable part of the overall diagnostic process. I did want to share a little bit about therapies. And again, this just speaks to the progress that has been made in the Alzheimer's and dementia landscape. It's truly exciting. When you look at all the drugs on my screen, these have all received FDA approval. So that's exciting. When you look at the therapies in the orange, so that's the top part of the slide, these therapies ease the symptoms of the disease. That's really what they do. And that was progress at the time, but we've since advanced and we've been able to do more in terms of how these therapies interact with individuals living with the disease. When you look at the therapies that are highlighted in green, those tend to treat agitation, because we know people that live with Alzheimer's and dementia do get agitated at times, their behavioral issues. And so those therapies address that. And then finally, in the purple are the more recent game-changing therapies that are really aimed at slowing the disease progression by targeting the underlying biology of the disease. One does have to be in the early stages to be able to take advantage of these therapies, which is why, again, early detection is really critical. I also wanted to share even more exciting news. This year in June, Governor Pritzker signed a bill that is requiring state-regulated health insurance plans to provide coverage for diagnostic testing as well as treatment for Alzheimer's disease. I really want to emphasize that Illinois is the first state to be able to do this. And this really speaks to the work that the Illinois chapter has been doing in our communities, the relationships that we've developed with community leaders, elected officials, community organizations. We have clearly done a terrific job in educating the community, raising awareness on the importance of this disease, so that now our elected officials are responding positively. With this new bill, 4 million people across the state have coverage. This is huge. This is truly a feather in our cap at the Illinois chapter. And so I think I'm going to pause for now, and I think we're going to go over some questions. Is that right, Donna?
You know, it's interesting because on the one hand, you're hearing that more and more people are being diagnosed with Alzheimer's, but at the same time, it's good to know that that's because there are new modalities that allow you to make that diagnosis sooner, and that blood test is going to be a game changer. Absolutely. So before we continue, and we will get to some questions in a few minutes, I wanted to show a short video that talks about the importance of people participating in clinical trials for Alzheimer's research.
My mother gave me a gold coat. Whenever I wear it, I feel close to her. It not only warms my body, but it warms my spirit. She was an educator, a very vibrant, loving Christian woman. When she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was quite a blow to all of us. Alzheimer's doesn't just affect a person, it affects a family. So I really wanted to participate in finding a cure.
It's particularly important for African Americans to engage in research and clinical trials because African Americans are twice more likely to have Alzheimer's disease than any other group.
Put your arm straight out.
Okay. 1.
There is a fair amount of reluctance in the African American community to participate in clinical trials because of past experiments.
The National Institutes of Health have put into place very strong guidelines that we didn't have, say, 40, 50 years ago. We are engaging all races and ethnicities in our research in a safe way.
I've been participating in clinical trials for 4 years now.
Total, terrible, terrific, tempting.
The benefits of participation are tremendous. You get to know what's going on in the field of science. In other words, what is my hope for not getting a disease like this or for being able to manage it for my loved one?
We found out that they had found a gene that was peculiar to African Americans. I was thrilled to know that I was a part of that. My mother would be very proud of my participation in the research because it's not about me. It's about my family, it's about my community, it's about future generations. The goal is well worth it.